This is Ice-T.
Stone Cold Steve Austin and
Matty Ice.
This is a cold call.
I convinced NFL teams to turn to cold water washing with Tide.
The NFL, your uniforms get dirty.
Tide can handle it, even in cold. Plus, if fans join in, they can save up to $150 on their energy bill.
looks like you just made the team, rookie.
Turn to cold with Tide.
And that's the bottom line.
For great savings, buy Tide Hygienic Clean at Target.
Energy savings based on average when switching from hot to cold and non-HE.
At Huntington, we've been asking ourselves, is it possible to lend money at zero interest? And it totally is. Introducing Standby Cash. When you need extra cash, you can qualify for between $100 and $1,000 at Huntington. And it's free when you autopay us back across 3 months. Why would a bank do that? Just to look out for people. That's how we reinvent banking. Huntington. Welcome. Without automatic payments, 12% APR. Eligibility requirements apply. Amount available is based on customer eligibility. Learn more at huntington.com/standbycash.
Motherfucker.
Hold on, I hope y'all watching this shit.
First round, real quick.
People that are in those training rooms with him know how good.
Because he just knocks dudes out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good. I might fuck with this guy. He just, to me,
I
thought he was a con artist,
no,
just based off his look.
They're edge.
Holy shit! What the hell just happened?
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. We got a big show planned for you guys today. We had a great conversation actually yesterday with Pro Wrestler Savior. We're going to air that live here in just a couple minutes for you guys live. If you guys don't follow Savior, go check him out. He's an independent pro wrestler here out of the Muncie, Indiana area. He wrestles for IPW, as other organizations as well. But IPW is like his home organization as of now. He's a great guy. We had a long conversation with him. Seems like a good young dude. But before we get to that, don't forget we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. If you're a sports gambler, come check us out. We're giving out winners. That show's live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're also live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern with GSR Gonzo Sports Room. Come join us for that. Usually 2 or 3 other guys in here, and it's a pretty good conversation. Also, if you're new to GWR, we've interviewed a lot of pro wrestlers. We've interviewed, we've had manager Hollywood House. We've had ladies man Mike King. We've had Dalton Love, Luke Savage. We've been interviewing a lot of independent wrestlers. Go to our YouTube page. Check those out. Please hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget tomorrow, Luke Savage will be live in studio with us at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then also on Friday, owner of Emerge Wrestling, Ricky Ruckus, will be joining us to talk about Emerge 58 Reap What You Sow, which is this Saturday night. It's a stacked card, so go check that out. But all right, but without further ado, let's get to this interview. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Pro Wrestler the Savior. At the end of the interview, I'll come back on and we'll talk a little bit more about the interview and some other things. But without further ado, hope you guys enjoy this show, and I'll see you guys back here in a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest today, pro wrestler Savior. Eric's here also as well, like normal. How's it going? How you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, for our fans and everybody who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and the reason why you're here?
So, yeah, sure. My name is, my real name is Jansen Blevins. Most people probably know me as Savior if you're an IPW fan. But, yeah, so I'm a pro wrestler out of the Muncie area, known as Savior. I go all over Indiana, though. Actually, MPG, Moneyweight champion right now. 4-corner title holder at IPW. Yeah, and just a lover of pro wrestling, and I love to pro wrestle. So it's living out a dream.
Is that what got you started? Just being a fan, just loving wrestling.
Yeah, I probably was. I mean, I've heard now that I'm in the business, everybody starts out as a mark. So it's like,
yeah,
I feel like I definitely was. I mean, I got videos on my phone of I used to live with when I first graduated high school. I used to live with like 3 other guys, and I got videos on my phone of us taking bumps on mattresses and going through cardboard tables. And yeah, now that I look back and know how to do this stuff, definitely was. That's why they say don't try this at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I started as a mark, and I actually knew Luke Savage from.
Mm-hmm. Luke's a good friend of the show.
Yep.
So we think real highly of Luke around here. He'll be on Wednesday. Yep.
Shout out Luke Savage. But yeah, I knew Luke Savage from before. We were both pro wrestlers, and one day I'd seen that he had debuted, so I got a hold of him and was like, hey, where are you being trained? How are you being trained? Because I've looked, and I'd have to go way out of town to go get trained, and I'm a working man, so the conflict.
Is that hard to do?
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a musician on the side, so I got three jobs basically,
right?
And a girlfriend. Shout out my lovely. So, but yeah, I knew Luke, and I got a hold of him and was like, I was a musician, and I was actually about to quit my job and go on tour full time, and COVID hit, and so I had to rethink what I was going to do, and so it was like the wrestling gods presented the opportunity to me.
Right place at the right time.
Yeah, and so I got a hold of Luke, and I was like, listen, man, I will do anything. Like, I will just come and set up the ring, like, as long as I can just see what's going on. And he was like, man, if you want to train, like, we can get you in. That week, I went out to the first training center, talked to the guys who run the training center out there. I got in there, started taking my bumps, and then it was like I just kind of took off with Luke and Dalton. I mean, I was trained under the Pitbull Training Academy, but I really say that, I mean, Luke and Dalton trained me. We would literally go 3-4 times a week because there was no music, no nothing going on like that. And so my free time, I had more free time than I was used to. So we were in the ring, I mean, 3-4 times a week, and just put in that work. And they were having matches, and I was training. And then Luke is actually the one that broke me in the business. And that was awesome. And then, yeah, Dalton Love. Shout out Dalton Love. I keep referencing to Dalton, but that's the Dalton Love.
Yeah, he's got a huge amount of talent.
Yeah,
huge.
He funny story about Dalton, which that's just shows you how much of a mark I was. when I seen their first match, Luke and Dalton, I thought this guy is an asshole. I thought, I don't care about. I know what goes on in this world. That dude's a dick.
Well, he was doing his job then.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
and then I met Dalton at the first day of training, and I had to tell him to speak up.
I was gonna say, totally different person.
Yeah, I was just like, I remember being in the ring like, that's not the same guy. There's no way that's the same. I saw this guy flip a little kid off in the video. Like, there's no way that's the same guy.
Wow.
But no, they're great guys, Luke and Dalton. We all go at it in the ring, but outside the ring, they're great guys. Nothing but good things to say about them. Like I said, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. So, shout out to you guys.
How long ago was it that you broke into the business?
I've been in for right under a year, so I've not been in very long. But I really kind of feel like I just got like, I mean, I got trained in 3 months. They kind of ran me through a couple tests. That's another guy who I really want to give a shout out. Ace Mob, Notorious Thug. He is another guy that trained. I mean, worked with us, me, Dalton, and Luke, and showed us a lot. And so he kind of ran me through a couple tests to see if I was ready. I remember it was, and so I kind of started doing. I kind of started teasing the character, and they had started saying, okay, well, let's get an idea for your character, and what you want to do and what you want to be. And I've always been, even when I was a kid, I hated scary movies, but I loved Kane and Undertaker and Foley and all those guys were like the guys I looked up to. And so that's kind of where Savior was born from.
It's kind of like a melting pot of all of them and a little bit of your own style thrown in.
When we got closed down, I stopped working for like 2 days. I never really even stopped working. And on those 2 days, me and my girlfriend sat and watched Tiger King. And I thought, what if you could have somebody with that type of personality, but just in like a dark way,
right.
just off the hinge. Like, you never know what he's going to say. Half the time he says stuff and you're like, that don't even make any sense. What are you even talking about? And then, so that's kind of where the initial idea I had. And then I was like, well, I don't want to go flamboyant with it or nothing like that. I can't rip off straight Tiger King because everybody will know what I'm doing. So then I kind of thought about it and brewed on it and kind of thought about like the ideology of like all these characters that I grew up loving, like Mick Foley and Taker and Mankind, even like Cactus Jack. Mm-hmm. And then I'm a huge John Moxley fan. When I walked in here, John Moxley was on, and I was like, all right, I'm in the right place.
I'm a big Moxley
He's going to
fan.
be in Indianapolis on November 10th for his book signing.
Yeah,
I'm a big Moxley fan.
That's Moxley's. I mean, I was a huge wrestling fan as a kid. Like, I mean, I was obsessed until probably right as I was going into 7th, 8th grade, and then I was into sports and doing that, and I kind of faded into that. And it was always like, you like wrestling? It was like, to me, it was always like a shock. Like, what do you mean wrestling's not cool? Like, I've always thought wrestling was cool.
I did too.
And so I kind of got away from it, and then WWE kind of got watered down, and then, but I'd heard like wind of like this Dean Ambrose guy, and so I'd would look stuff up on YouTube sometimes. I'd be like, oh yeah, this dude's cool.
I saw him back when he was still independent, and he was John Moxley I saw him like a month before he debuted in WWE. We saw him down in Indy. And Bryan Danielson was at that card too.
Oh my God.
That was on a Saturday night, and he debuted on Raw. It had been the second time. It was after he got fired the first time. When he came back a second time that Saturday before, we saw him in Indianapolis at an independent show. Because we didn't think he was going to show up because we heard he was going to debut on Raw. We're like, well, he ain't going to be at that card. We got down there. He was there.
Oh, man. See, that makes me like him even
and Ambrose or Moxley.
Yeah.
I forget who he was wrestling, but they went out of the building and was out in the middle of the road in Indianapolis. There's cars going down the street. The whole crowd followed him outside.
Oh my god!
And then we've all followed him back inside. It was one of the best cards I'd ever seen. I think we paid like $10, $12 to get in. Me, my dad, and my son.
Awesome.
That's why you should love independent wrestling.
Exactly.
Right there.
Yep.
Like that is a perfect story.
You feel it more. It's like, I mean, WWE, AEW, they're great. You know, watch them, they're great. But it's just a different feel at an independent show.
Different environment.
It's a different environment. Like
you're more close.
Those are the hardcore, real, true like wrestling fans that are going to go like to a random little place and watch, you know, people who aren't maybe not have a big name or who are just starting out, like, and go in there and love it, just like they're watching a WWE WrestleMania, you know. And
yeah, I remember being a kid and like I was obsessed with wrestling. My dad would get WrestleMania every year, but it was when he took me to a show. I don't know what promotion it was. He doesn't remember either because I've asked him a million times. But he would take me down there, and it was in Chesterfield. And I feel like it almost was old school, IP-Dub. And
in Chesterfield?
Yeah.
It was old school IP-Dubs. I bet you I was at that show.
And he would take me down there.
I went to 2 shows there in Chesterfield, and they were both the old school IPW.
Yeah, it had to be because there was casket matches, I remember. But I remember being like, I remember kind of being upset because I was like, man, none of my guys are going to be there. But then I got there, and it was like, I just remember the atmosphere, like in that little gym. But there was probably 50 people in there, and it seemed like a million in there. And
it was as a little gym.
Yeah, and I remember a guy came around and asked me if I wanted to hold the flag for the national anthem, and I was like, and I got to go up in the ring. I tried to go over the second rope like I used to see him do, and I was too little, and I like got hung up. Like I was like, no, you need to go into the first rope. I was like, no, like I want to go over the top rope like Big Show does. And but I got in the ring, and I literally remember just like I was enamored. Like I was hypnotized. Like the whole show. I remember the casket match. I damn near remember I don't remember who it was, but I can damn near tell you the whole casket match. Recite it back to you now. But like that's what got me addicted was seeing it. I had been to Raw and been up in the cheap seats, but it was nothing like being 2 rows. I watched this guy come flying out of the ring and get hit with a chair. It's like I just watched it happen. I just watched him get chopped, and I saw it. There's nothing fake about this. There's nothing. And I actually got into it, and then my dad would take me down. Shout out to Hollywood Video, old school video store.
I used to work there for a little while.
My dad used to take me down there, and they had a wrestling section.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was like what we did. I'd go with my dad every other weekend, and that's what we did is we'd go, and I'd rent. And I remember getting Beyond the Mat, and it like showed you the inside of the business. And my dad had no clue what it was, and he showed it to me. And I remember like him being freaking out, being like, oh my gosh, thinking it was going to ruin it for me. And it made me love it even more. I was like, are you kidding me? These dudes know each other, and then they're going out there and doing this to each other? I was like, this is cool. Like, sign me up. And I was also, but I was always like, that's what was always so good about, that's what I always loved about it, is I even knew, even as a young kid, I knew about a little bit about the inside and still loved it. It didn't matter. Like, it still took me outside of this world and got me involved in the story, whether it was a whole storyline or just the match telling the story. It was, and that's what I love. I mean, that's what I'm addicted to, is the storytelling.
Yeah, that's always great, because then you can just, the match has a little bit more feeling and a little bit more extra spice kicked up into it. Just feels like if they've been going at it already for a while, it's just, I agree on that.
That's one thing
about so much better if there's a storyline instead of just a random match with no like direction, just kind of just going everywhere.
Yeah, that's what. Well, you brought up earlier that the triple threat between me, Dalton, and Luke.
Mm-hmm. That was a good match.
Well, And the thing was, like, if you had been to the previous IPW shows, so Luke and Dalton were having their feud. Luke had gotten pulled from the crowd, and they had this feud, which was great storytelling. People love it.
I thought that was
still
awesome.
Into it. I mean, Luke, my dad showed up for the first time he ever showed up for a show. I'd already been wrestling a couple times, and I said, "You want to hear a crowd get loud?" I said, "Wait till Luke comes out." I said, that's called a hometown pop. And then later on, he was like, "Oh my God, people love it." I was like, "Yeah, because he's one of them." And I still love that. I love Luke's character. I love Luke as a character. But him and Dalton were in their feud, and I started walking around. I literally went and bought Goodwill sweatpants and like Jesus sandals and like drenched my hair over my face and just would walk around, and kids would come up to me and be like, "Hey, who are you?" And I would just not answer them, and just like, I actually had a guy try to jump me in the crowd. And then
was there a guy with the bandana on?
No. This dude should be a wrestler. He was big. He was a big guy, but luckily security stopped him, and it was because I made his kid cry. His kid come up to me and was like, ask me questions, and I'm true to the kayfabe.
Yeah,
when Savior's
right.
out, it's Savior. Like so I kept kayfabe, and his dad did not like that. Did not like that very much. And I get back in the back, and they're talking. Some veterans were talking about, yeah, I know a guy who got stabbed out in the crowd. And I was like, man, nobody's telling me that before I got out there.
Now, after the fact, you want to tell me this?
Yeah. But yeah, so I was in the crowd, and I would walk around, and I did it 2 or 3 times, however many matches. And then I wrestled Luke the first match. I came in after Luke had beaten Dalton, and it was like this great story. They had these 3 matches, and I came in and ruined Luke's win. It was just, I wrecked it. And then we wrestled the next month, and I beat him with a little trickery. And then Dalton had called both of us out, saying he wanted a rematch. And I thought the storytelling for like that, our whole build up for Luke's debut and my debut and Dalton's debut, and just like how it just all built, I thought it was just, and then to top it off with that triple threat, that's probably still the best match I've ever wrestled.
I was getting ready to ask you that. I was like, do you have a favorite match, or what's like your most memorable moment that you've had?
Yeah, so far the triple threat is one that I hold near and dear because it's, Luke and Dalton trained me, so it's like I wouldn't be there without them. So to go out there and be able to tell a story like that
with both of them,
it's like it definitely meant something. And then I just wish, I'm sure you guys seen I didn't have a tire to begin, so I made the best attire I could, and I thought, well, Savior's crazy, so if he's gonna have a tire, he's gonna hand do it. So I did all that attire by hand. Just wish I would have my new attire and would have been able to wrestle that match, because Luke and Dalton looked good. I looked like I had crayon written on me. But anyway, the match is great. Great storytelling. Go ahead and follow Dalton Love on YouTube. Subscribe to his page. That's where that match is at. But no, and then I also wrestle for a company called MPG. That's another one that I wrestle consistently for. I've wrestled for other
Where's
places.
that at?
They're out of Bloomington. It's young. It's a lot of young guys, and it's the young guys running the promotion, but they're hungry. And I feel like the guy, at least one of the guys that, runs MPG, has a lot of bad things said about him and stuff like that. But all I've ever done business with him, it's all been good on my side. And he always pays me, and I've seen him always pay the guys. And I feel like he got a bad rap. But from what I'm going off of, from all I've seen, the guys in the locker room, we got guys in there that have been trained by Seth Rollins. Like, they went to his Black and Brave school.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are great guys, and they, I mean, there's guys in there from all over Michigan, Ohio, and he gets these young guys, and that's like his thing is he books these young guys that are hungry and want to be seen, and the match quality of MPG is honestly, I mean, it's kind of sad it's kind of sad how good of matches are put on there for, like, I mean, it's small, but, and nothing to say about small promotions or nothing like that. I'm not dogging those at all, but it's like, man, these guys are working their tails off, all of us, and it's like, whew.
Right now, here around this area in Indiana, and hell, in the whole region, really, there's a lot of good young talent coming out of this area from all different promotions, from everywhere, from all over the state. Like I said, the region. There's a lot of you guys that are, and that should be, exciting for guys like you and Luke and Dalton, and like, just to think there's so many good guys that you could be out there having matches with, and like,
yeah, that I mean, it's like, I mean, it's crazy to think that there's 2 promotions in Muncie that put on quality matches like that and have young guys that are hungry like that and are coming up. I mean, I know you guys have had Hollywood House on, and there's Dex Royal and like all those guys. I know Luke and Dalton, they just got to go up to WCWO and wrestle there, and I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. And if you're a wrestling fan and you don't know about the Muncie scene, just look, because it's on fire. No matter if you want to go to IPW, DCCW, if you want to travel down to Bloomington and come to an MPG show and watch Xavier defend his belt, if you are here locally in Muncie and you are a wrestling fan, you are missing out on some of the best wrestling around. I mean, no matter what promotion you go to, if you can't make one weekend, go to the other one. If you can't make that one, go to the other one. If you can make both, go to both. Like,
right.
I used to go, before I was in, I used to go to DCCW shows. I was at the show at Jay County when Rikishi came and Stink faced Sean Casey. I was there, bought a ticket. Like, I went to those DCCW shows. Like, that's what, after I graduated high school, I mean, I was a musician, and I was going around playing these little bars, and I lived with 3 other guys, and one other guy was a huge wrestling fan too. So, and it's funny because we always used to talk. We was like, man, if we ever found a place to get trained, it's like we'd do it. Yeah, we'd do it, and then we ended up all moving out, and like literally a couple months later, I found a place to get trained. But I moved in with them, and then it was like, that's what we would do. I was like, guys, there is a local promotion in Muncie that it's right downtown. We can go to it. We went to a couple shows at Mad Jack's, went to Jay County and watched Rikishi. It was just something fun we did. And the music scene downtown, I'm in a lot of the music scene downtown. I go out a lot down there and play, and I run into guys, and I can't tell you how many times I've been talking to musicians, and they just bring up wrestling, or like I'll hear a couple of them talking about something that happened on AEW or WWE, and I'm like, and I just kind of perk up, like, and then I kind of make my way over there. Hey, there's this and this going on in downtown. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
So I think, like, I don't know. I think the people are there. I think the fans are there. I mean, we live in this is a college town, for crying out loud. If you can't sell wrestling here, like, I don't know. And that's what I don't want to speak for any of the young talent, but I feel as a young talent, we just want to see wrestling. Like, right. I want to see the best wrestling that you can put out, and that's how it should be.
And there's a lot of talent, like you said, in Muncie and in the surrounding areas. Young talent, old veterans that are that are good still and got a lot to offer and to teach people. And like, to me, that's what's, you love being a wrestling fan here in Muncie because there is so much thing. But then also it's like there's a lot that's being missed here in Muncie as far as the wrestling scene because of the two different promotion things. Like, can you imagine the matches and the quality of the shows if they like?
Yeah,
if it was like, they intertwined somehow, like,
yeah,
I mean, I know whatever's going on is going on, whatever.
Yeah,
but that's like,
and that's what, and it's just kind of like,
and that's, I mean, that's their own personal business, but like, a lot of the wrestling fans are missing out because, like, can you imagine how big a show would be with both promotions? It'd be the biggest show because you'd have fans from, well, you got a lot of cross fans anyways, but then you get some fans that only go to one show or only go to the other show. You'd have all of them in one place at one time, dude. It would be massive.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I've only been a year. In a year, I've been thankful for everything that the guys at IPW have given me and done for me, and I'm thankful for the DCCW guys because it makes wrestling relevant. And it has a presence on Facebook and everything. And I'm just a young guy, and I may not have any word in it, but if you want my opinion, I feel like business should be done no matter what. I mean, if you can come out and my saying in life is, if it makes money, it makes sense to me.
Right.
So I honestly feel like you're saying, like, it's just doing the fans a disservice. Because imagine, and I'm just going to speak metaphorically, and I'm just going to throw this out here, and let's just imagine this. So we already know of, on Facebook, there's literally a page made by somebody who is not in IPW or DCCW called the Muncie Wrestling Wars. So fans know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you could take that and book it to where you could have DCCW versus IPW. You market downtown, Ball State, college kids. This promotion versus this promotion. Big one-night event, this, and this. You build it up. And then if you don't, like I said, I don't know anything, but I just feel like you could do a show like that and there come out being to where both promotions look strong. And when you walk away from the end of the night, there's going to be people going, wow, I want to go here, or I want to go here, or, man, look at all that wrestling in Muncie. I want to go to both these places.
Yep.
Or you just keep doing it, and then you can build storylines doing it that way, which it's
just
like,
squash everything and just let the wrestling speak for itself, because there's good wrestlers in this area.
Yeah, and
there's good storytellers in this area. There's good promoters in this area. Like,
yeah,
instead
I've gotten to wrestle Madman Fulton. Like I said, I've only been in a year. I've gotten to wrestle the great Jimmy Lee, the Living Nightmare, and like, when you take guys like that and you combine them with guys like Luke Savage, Dalton Love, Dex Royal, and you put it together, it is magic. Like, because you have the storytelling, you have the credibility with these legends, and like, and that's, I love wrestling, and that's what, I don't want to be the young kid who thinks he's a superstar or anything like that. Like, I don't ever want to be that guy, because I'm not, and it even makes me feel weird talking about it, because I'm just the guy that usually just sits back in the corner and just lets things happen, because it's none of my business.
Yeah, you're just a fan that would love to see a great fucking
that's
show.
That's what I'm saying. I'm happy. I'm fucking.
And that would be a great fucking show.
Every time I go to training, I'm just fucking happy to be there, man. Like, I'm happy to be in a ring. I'm happy I get to lace up. I'm happy I have a fucking pair of boots I actually get to lace up and go out there and tell stories and do that. But like you're saying, if you're asking my opinion, I just see, and that's just me being, I mean, I was, like I've said a couple times already, I was a musician. So like, when I see, if I I play like outlaw, red dirt, country type stuff. If I've got a band and I see another band doing that, I'm going to try to put on an outlaw redneck country show, and I'm going to try to sell some tickets. I'm going to try to make some money. And, like, because I know those fans will enjoy that more than us trying to be like, if I was like, oh, well, these are our bars, and we play at these bars, and you play at these bars because these are our bars, and these are your – it's just like and that's what – and like I said, I don't want to speak for any of the young talent, but I just feel like we're just like there's all this – all the time this back and forth with all this stuff, and it's like it's none of our business, nor do we care. We just want to wrestle. Like, we just want to wrestle quality matches and have a presence in the independent scene.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that's anybody else's goal when they start. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like when I started, and it was, of course, when I started, you know, I started training under IPW, so I come in and I kind of had to like learn of all this stuff that had happened, and I just kind of, and like I said, I'm just a guy that was just, I was just fucking happy to be there, like, and I still am just happy to be there, and like I said, if I just got set up the ring, that's what I'll do. I'm just happy to be in the business. Like, I live a dream every day besides going to work. Not that if my boss ever listens to this, not that I hate my job. But nobody likes a 9 to 5. But I'm lucky in the fact that I have a girlfriend that stays with me, even though I'm running around all the time. I get to work 40 hours a week. I get to play music and I get to wrestle. Like, those are the two. I get to live my dream, both my dreams. Wrestling was the first dream, and music's really been, ever since I was little, those have been the two things in my life that have basically been constant, where it's like, I love those things, no matter what. My grandpa was on Nashville Starseek back in the 80s, so like from ever since I can remember, I've had music and then wrestling ever since I can remember. I had older cousins, so it was like, that's just what I watched coming up, because it was like that's what they watched, and I'd get put in headlocks and all this crazy stuff. But yeah, so it was like I think we just want to see wrestling, and we want to see wrestling thrive. When I come in and it was all this, it's not even really all that drama. It's just like man, why are we not worrying about wrestling? Why are we not worrying about storylines? Why are we not worrying about, I don't know. It's just, I am not a fan of any pissing match. Right. No matter what. Like, I'm just not a fan of them because I think they're pointless. If you want to get down to brass tacks, let's get down to brass tacks. And the only brass tacks that there is in this business is what happens in those four corners. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to. And I'm not speaking bad on anybody or anything. I want to see IPW succeed, and I want to see DCCW succeed too, because that's better for wrestling. If we're both selling 300-400 seats, that means there's 800 people in this town coming to watch a wrestling show a month. That's fine by me, and that's what. And I wish I'd like to sell out the field house. They always say it can't be done. They say it hasn't been done since, I don't know, the 70s, I think is what I heard last time. But I'm a go-getter, so I think it could be done. I think with the young talent and stuff, I see what goes on, and I'm just like, man, if you marketed it right and advertised it right and did it right. Because it's crazy, like I said, I'll be downtown at a music gig or something, and I'll hear somebody talking about wrestling. I'm like, hey, man, there's wrestling here.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, I went to Indy and seen this show. And I'm like, no, last weekend? Yeah, last weekend. I wrestled here last weekend. Like you could have came watched it. It's just, yeah, so I don't know. I want to see wrestling succeed. And right now is the best time to be a wrestling fan.
I agree.
AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor is going to come back in April. I just seen they had just released the thing. You got the independent scenes are coming back, like with everything that's opened back up and everything. I mean, these places are popping. You got WCWO that's down in Indy.
Emerge.
Emerge.
Trafalgar. Like,
Yep, you got them. Yeah, it's just
what's that, AWR?
Yeah, and that's what I try to stress that to everybody. If I'm on Ball State playing or something, and I meet a wrestling fan, I'm like, don't just like go to all the independent stuff you can go to. If they're talking about this AEW or whatever, I'm like, hey, you should check out some of this independent stuff.
Yeah.
Start here, then go wherever. Like, just look it up; it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm a big AEW guy. Like, that's just. I don't mind it. I love a lot of the guys in WWE. Like, I'm a huge Drew McIntyre fan, and a lot of the women in WWE actually. Like, I'm a big fan of Becky Lynch, her in-ring work. But I mean, it's like this girl up here on the screen,
Statlander. Yeah.
She is that's my favorite women's wrestler right now. Like, I just think AEW, the talent that they're bringing in, and what they're doing for independence, and what they're doing with Impact and New Japan and all this stuff, like blending everything in. As a wrestling fan, I just lose my mind. It's like, oh my God, because then it's just, even if you don't know about it, I mean, it's almost like when I got back into wrestling right around my into high school senior year, I found New Japan, and I was like, oh my God. What is this? And this has just been sitting here the whole time, and all I've been watching is WWE. And so I got into Suzuki, and then now I took a vacation. I was actually going to go tour down in South Carolina, and when I cut all the music stuff out to take on wrestling, I was like, well, I've already got it off work, so we might as well take a trip. And we actually went and watched AEW down in New Jersey, and that's when Suzuki came out. And that was the night Adam Cole wrestled for the first time, and that pop was
I bet it was huge.
Insane. I looked over at my girlfriend, and she was crying. And I was like, are you crying? And she was like, I don't know why I'm crying, but this is insane. And I was like, that's how I feel on the inside.
Is she a huge wrestling fan, or not really?
I remember when we first started hanging out, we went out to the bar. I had a show. We went out to the bar. We come back, and both were a little lit up, and first thing I put on the TV was wrestling. I was like, check this out. She was like, you mean like Hulk Hogan and like Ultimate Warrior? I'm like, no. Let me show you wrestling. Like, let me show you some of this stuff. And so, like, AEW was already around at that time. So I'm pretty sure the first thing I showed her may have been Mick Foley and Undertaker, Hell in the Cell. I was like, you want to see wrestling? I was like, watch this.
See, I was just asked the question in one of our last interviews, what match would you show somebody that's not a wrestling fan to get them to be a wrestling fan? And I thought that was a great question. And that's the match that I said, because it has everything in one match. And like,
yeah,
you get the wrestling part, you get the brutality part, you get the shock and awe part. It's like great storytelling, great performers. Like,
yeah,
I like Flair and Flair and Michaels at WrestleMania when Michaels retired Flair.
Okay, I'd say another one that popped in my head was Taker and Shawn. Either of those, I think 25 and 26. I think.
They're both real good too.
Yeah. Either of those. I don't know. I think Mick Foley, Taker, it just from the raw fact, like you're saying, like it's got everything, but if all of those things fail and they don't like any of those, it's going to shock the hell out of them.
Right.
When they see him get it's just like,
exactly.
What?
To me, that's why, like, cause some of the other matches, they're top-notch matches, some of the best in history, but they're what established wrestling fans know is a great match, you know?
Right.
Like, somebody who's just now watching it may not realize, hey, that was a great match, where if you're trying to get them sucked into it, you want to shock and awe them and like, holy shit, what was that? I want more of that.
Yeah.
That or some of the Austin and Mr. McMahon.
Those are.
Yep. Yeah. I
Or some Latino Heat stuff.
Man. It's still some of my favorite finishes with Latino Heat, with like untying his boot, taking it off, the chair shot. That's great. Boom. Take a bump, all that stuff. Yeah, that's, oh my God. Yeah, and that's what, And that's another thing too. It all depends on what style of wrestling do you like. Like, there's, I mean, man.
What's your favorite?
I love, I don't know. I love, if I can watch a great wrestling match just with this, I don't care if I don't know the storyline or anything. If I can go in and watch a technical, like, I don't care, brawl, it doesn't matter. If you can tell a story in the ring or outside the ring, it don't matter. I will literally watch anything. Deathmatch sometimes makes me a little squeamish because the blood sometimes and all that stuff. But like, I do it. But it's watching it. It's almost, I'm diabetic too. It's the same. It's like I can watch myself give myself shots, but like somebody else was to give me a shot, I'd never pass out watching it happen. But it's like, I don't know. I've only wrestled one hardcore match, and it's like, that's fun to do, but they hurt, they suck.
What would you say your style is like?
Probably brawling. That's probably what I mean. I try to make my style like Moxley, Foley, I just want everything to look aggressive. I want it to look like anything I throw. Like when I watch a match back or something, and I watch something, if I throw something and it doesn't look like I took the dude's head off, I'm like, God, man, you got to lay that thing in. Like that, just because like that's what I want to see as a fan. That's what blurs the. I'm a big guy in blurring the lines. Like that's why I like watching just a great wrestling match or like a great brawl, because it's like I want to blur the lines. I like to be taken out of my head and focus 110%, like be lost in it. And then so that's why, I mean, John Moxley's my favorite wrestler, maybe of all time. It's either him or Rob Van Dam, but like, and I didn't even discover Rob Van Dam's hardcore stuff until like, I knew he was a hardcore guy, but like I was a fan of his style of the Rolling Thunders and the spinning heel kicks and all that crazy stuff he would do, which is like what you see, like all these young guys, like Luke Savage. I mean, that's like even Dalton, like, but Luke is really like, every time I wrestle Luke, I'm like, this dude's going to do something, at least 3 crazy things. I'm going to be like, holy shit. But like, but like, that's who we grew up watching. I feel like that's just who, like Moxley, I mean, when I seen him live in New Jersey, and I was literally watching him, and it was blurring the lines for me. It was like I could hear the shots he was given from up in the stands. I was just like, my God, that's what I love. I love being a little snug. I love landing in there. So yeah, I'd say brawling. But yeah, I mean, the other day I watched Brett and Sean, the Iron Man match for an hour. And it was like my girlfriend came in there, and after about 10, 15 minutes, she was like, nah. Like that's what I'm saying. You got to be able to, I mean, there's just so many different styles of wrestling now. It's almost hard to, a lot of times you run into like, you know, you're doing too much or this and that, or, you know, you're doing spots or this and this and this. And it's like, but man, I honestly think if you're telling a story, that's what we're supposed to be doing. So, and to each their own with the style of wrestling. But yeah,
that's what makes independent wrestling so great, is you have so many different styles, you know, all in one show, and you have the fans of so many different styles. You know, there's if you, whatever style you do, there's going to be a fan that, you know, of that style.
Oh yeah, and it's like, well, I mean, it's like WCWO. They run a show every Friday, but then they did the Young Guns tournament
right
on a Saturday, like that. That's cool because that gives you an opportunity to come out on a separate day and see. You know, it's going to be fast-paced, fast Young Gun style stuff, and that's definitely what they gave them.
Yeah, I seen some of them. I didn't get to go to that one, but I watched some of the matches that, you know, that were recorded, and they all looked like they were great matches. And
yeah, and And that goes back to all the young talent that's just around.
Hungry.
It's like everybody I meet that's young like that, and even like you're saying, the older guys that can still go, like top 3 best matches I've ever had, probably honestly top 2. It probably goes that triple threat, and then my second was against Notorious Ace Mob, and we barely planned anything out, and we went out there and had a hell of a match, and it was like guys that still want it like that. The legends that can still go and have stories that they still want to tell, and us young guys that are just hungry and ready to just go out and get it. And going back to all the talent around here, I mean, it's incredible. And that's really what all I'm about, is pushing this talent, young, old, not even old, young, veterans, it don't matter. Just getting wrestling out there, because it's here and it's local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they said it. Yes, it is a competitive, sometimes cutthroat business.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can be the champion.
Right.
But to me, you would want everybody to do well, because if you have better quality opponents to go against, and so much more diversity and things that you can do, and stories and things that you can spin, and it's like there's just so much that could be done here.
Yeah, it's and that's just as an out. If I was to take myself out, if I wasn't looking at it as Jansen Blevins,
Right.
not Savior, it would almost make me mad. If I knew like what was going on as a fan, it would almost make me mad. I'd be like, man, what's going on? Like, it would almost be like, you're depriving me of something. You're depriving me. I don't know. I just see, like I said, I'm a greenback. I am nobody. I am just happy to be on this podcast and happy to train under IPW, and happy I know the guys, and happy I've got to wrestle the guys that I've got to wrestle. But with all that being said, it's like you're saying, just the potential with what you could do. Like,
well, and even if they didn't want to combine, even if they didn't want to combine back, if you just squash all the bickering back and forth and promote each other's shows.
Yeah.
You're doing them on different days. Hey,
yeah.
Let's squash the beef. Hey, our show is November 8th. Well, we're gonna have ours
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and then promote each other's show.
Yeah.
The more you grow, the more you grow. But
yeah.
It does nothing but help the whole wrestling scene out.
Yeah. And I know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what all happened. I have no clue all about any of that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's none of my beef. And like I said, I'm a nobody, and I have nothing to say to speak on it. But on the side of wrestling and like what could be done is that, like,
well, that's like,
I've always had that opinion of like, if we could just squat. I'm not a guy that spins my wheels. Like, if I'm if I'm stationary, then I am not okay. Like, I had somebody tell me at a young age, every day you either get better or get worse. You don't stay the same. And I've literally lived by that. You try it, and if you have a day where you get worse, the next day you try to get better. And like, that's how I feel like they should look at it, is like, it doesn't matter. Like, all this stuff should not matter on this if we look at the bigger picture and like what's going on. And like I said, I'm a greenback. I have no clue what's going on. It's only from what I've been told and this and that. And I'm new to the business, but I'm hungry, and I know the other guys are too. And we don't want to be, I don't want to say held back, but we don't want mud on our tires like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that just slows everything down. And it's just like, hell, I would love to get I would love to turn Savage to the dark side and start a tag team and take on the highlight reel, or watch Savage take on G.W.R, or like that would be like you guys are saying, you could just do so much with it, but it's just you have to be able to put business first. I mean,
and be respectful about it.
Yeah, it's just
that's the main thing. At the end of the day, you can go back to disliking each other, or not really, caring what happens to the other person. But at that time, be respectful. For the betterment of the whole wrestling industry scene around here.
Yeah, and because I've heard people be like, like I go to this show, so I don't go to this show, and like. First off, people, if you do that and you're watching this, who told you that that's what you had to do? Like, nobody's going to tell you that. Like, you can talk, I guarantee you can talk to anybody and they're not going to tell you that. You can talk to Dalton Love, even full Dalton Love character. He might flip you off, but he'll tell you, like, it doesn't matter. As long as you're going and supporting local wrestling. And I feel like that's our job, to get fans to like us and to come back and see us, like,
or to be so invested that they hate y'all, they want to come back to see y'all get your ass kicked the next time.
Exactly. Like, it's like when I first seen Dalton, I was like, dude, I want to kick that guy's ass. Like, oh my god!
And you have since.
And now I get to. So, yeah, it's
living the dream, baby. Living the dream.
It's a win-win. Yeah. No, but yeah, I don't know, and I've seen, and I've seen some stuff on here, and obviously I've heard and this and that, and like that's just, and I think shortly after that podcast is when I messaged you guys, because I wanted to speak on behalf of first myself, and then and as a young talent that's coming up. I mean, I'm probably the youngest talent out of everybody you've had. Like, you guys probably didn't even have any clue who I was, but like, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to I'm hungry. I want it. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to wrestle wherever I have to go to wrestle, and to get my name out there and to show that, like, the wrestling is what matters here. And there's other guys that are so talented. Like,
I knew who you was because of Luke and Dalton.
Yeah,
and also because of Mike King.
Okay.
Mike King told me that you was a good young talent, be somebody good for me to have on the show.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
that's cool. Like, I've never met Mike King, and but I did hear the advice that he gave the young talent. Like, and just letting you know, Mike, I listened, and that's what I like. That's what I think there should be more.
We're supposed to be helping everybody, help people out. You've been there and done that. Help the guys know what coming up, how it should be done. Or?
I am just, like I've said, I am thankful every day I get to be in the wrestling business. I get to step in a ring. The other day, I literally just I was driving by our training center, and I just stopped and just walked in there and got in the ring and just stood there for a second. Like, I get to actually do this. I get to actually be in this ring, and like, I get to tell stories through this vessel. So it's just, that's all I want, is to learn and to be a sponge and meet everybody I can, whether they're from this promotion or that promotion. It doesn't matter, because like you're saying, Mike King, he's the booker for DCC. Is he the booker for DCCW?
Co-owner.
Yeah, co-owner. Yeah. I didn't know if he was. I thought it was both.
Yeah, he does. He does too.
Booking.
Yeah, he does. Okay, yeah, but I had seen that, and that's what I'd kind of. That's why I kind of messaged you guys, because I felt like, well, at least, let me get on there and say what I think as a young talent, and what I probably feel that these other young talent feel, that we have no beef with nobody. The only beef we have is with ourselves and trying to get booked other places. Like, we're just wrestling ourselves, and every day, like, I don't know, like, we have no beef. There's no
have you wrestled outside of Indiana?
No, just all over Indiana. So that's what I've been talking to Jimmy Lee. He runs ASWA over in Mansfield, Ohio, and I'd really like to get on over there. Like I said, I wrestled Madman, and then I actually got to wrestle Jimmy Lee at IPW, and yeah, like I mean, it's like that. Like running into Jimmy Lee, like I'm just trying to learn everything I can, and that's. I asked if I could come work for him. He said he's all booked up, but he'll let me know. And like we're independent talent around here. We're just hungry, man. Like I know Luke and Dalton. Dalton's been killing it on getting booked and getting his name out there. Luke has been too. But Dalton, man, you just love to fucking hate that guy. I tell him that all the time.
I haven't got to see him wrestle live yet. I've watched a lot of video on him.
Oh
man! And I think he has a whole lot of potential. Same with Luke. Well, same with you too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
You just have to stay, like you said, you just keep grinding.
Yeah, and that's
just like us. We started doing this stuff about 6-7 months ago.
Yeah,
and it's just you just gotta be consistent, stay at it.
Yep.
Sometimes it ain't gonna work right. Sometimes you hit a home run.
Yeah, nose on the grind.
You can't think you're just gonna wake up overnight and you're gonna be at the top. You know what I mean? It don't work like that. You gotta.
Well, I would maybe say I'm still in pain. I mean, I'm going to be paying my dues because I'm still a young green guy. So it's like that's what I'm saying. Like me and Dalton and Luke, we don't do 4 days a week anymore. But I mean, we do at least twice a week. Most of the time, 3 times a week, trying to get in the training center. And we're just blessed to have a training center like that. And like I just know, and that's another thing too, because I see all this back and forth with like all this and all the drama and all that. And whatever, but like it just makes me sad because it's like, man, I don't know about DCCW, but those young guys, but I'm sure they are because they're amazing talent, and you can tell by their matches that they work their tail off and train their tail off. But like, I've seen the work that Dalton and Luke put in because I've been there with them, and like, and I know those guys over there are putting in the same type of work, G.W.R and Hollywood House and all them guys. Like whether, and that's not just, and not as in work saying putting in time in the ring or time in the, like putting in work all the way around, getting their names out there, doing this, doing that, promoting themselves.
Yeah,
and it's just it's almost a disjustice to like how hard all of us guys, I guess I could include myself in that, how hard we work for this shit. Like it's just, I mean, this shit ain't ballerina. You know what I mean? Ballet. We ain't ballerinas out here. It's like
that's what I try to tell everybody. It's like people who aren't necessarily wrestling fans or ones that are like borderline wrestling fans, and they're like, and you know they throw around the fake word, and I was like, they're like, oh, it's scripted. I was like, yeah, but the physicality is still real. The athleticism in the ring and the stuff that they do is still real, like 100% real. Like these guys are straight putting their bodies on the line every single match. Like, you can't fake that part. Like,
no, we're the other day, a couple weekends ago, actually, I wrestled down at a Indie Comic-Con for that MPG, and we actually did 3 days. We did like, me and Luke and Dalton did like damn near 9 matches in 3 days, and I was beat up. I'd wrestled that 4-corner match with Jimmy Lee, so we were on the chain. I took a choke slam on the chain, coiled up. My back was I was all bruised up and beaten because a bunch of young guys, we got out there and started chopping each other in front of the Comic-Con crowd, and everybody started popping, so then we just started chopping the hell out of each other, and it was like, oh well, now we're just going to be sore for the next few days.
Oh, come on now. Them chops don't hurt.
Yeah. But no, so I was talking to my girlfriend, and that's what she was saying was like, that when I used to watch it, there used to just be something about it that would be like, you know, this day, like they're falling, but there's got to be a way that it's like not hurting. I'm like, no. I remember the first day I went to training and felt the ring. I was like touching it, like, okay,
seeing if it was like bouncy.
I was like, where's the real ring? Yeah, I know this is like the one you guys show everybody to scare them, but like, where's the real one? And then I seen guys getting in there and doing it. I was like, damn. It's like my dad. He was never like a big wrestling fan. He was like, I feel like he kind of watched it like back like Hulkamania, like when everybody kind of knew what wrestling was, just because like the 80s and the early 90s, and then like Stone Cold and stuff like that. He knew that stuff, but he never was really into it. And it was kind of cool because, like, one of my specialties is pissing my dad off. So when I told him I was going to be a musician, I could always sing, but I never would sing in front of my parents. I would always sing like there was a girl in swing choir that knew I could sing. I showed her I could sing, and she was like, "Oh my God, you should come." And I started practicing with swing choir a little bit. I was like, "I can't do this. I'm a sports guy. I can't do this." And then I had a couple buddies that started a band. They was like, "Bro, we know you can sing. Like, we heard it, and we want you to be lead singer." That band never got a gig, and but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. So I taught myself how to play guitar and like just did it like, and so I have a real good. I'm really good at pissing my dad off. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a musician. This is what I'm gonna do. He's like, musicians don't make any money, and you could do this and this. And I'm like, oh well, you know. And then so the music kind of took off, and I was actually gonna be able to like stop my job to play music. So he was like, okay, what, you know, all right, cool. And then I'm like, hey, Dad, guess what? I'm going to be a professional wrestler now. He's like, oh, wow, even less money. And I'm just like, yeah, so, but no, we definitely do it for the love. Like, but yeah, that's what people don't understand is like, I have guys at work, like, it's funny because I work 40 hours a week still, and I'm actually a service tech, refrigeration. And, like, I'll come in from Wrestling Comic-Con a weekend, and I'll have bruises all up and down my arm and stuff. They'll be like, dude, what the hell happened? I'll be like, dude, I just wrestled all weekend. They're like, what? I'd be like, man, do you ever use that fake blood? I had a guy ask me that one day. He was like, man, where do you guys keep that fake blood? I've seen them bleed, but, like, where do they keep it? And I'm like, dude, that's real blood. And he's like, no. I'm like, yes, that's, I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. And then that same guy, he asked, how do you guys go through them tables? I'm like, I don't know. How do you look at it? You say, you just go.
You're like, let me slam you through one and I'll show you how they
Let me
go
show
through.
you real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been chopped before. If anybody thinks that shit's fake and don't hurt, go to the show, let somebody chop you.
Yeah, my dad, he never was really into it, but he always, that's his thing. That's how he knows. Like, if anybody says it's fake around him, he's like, now that he's been to the show and he's seen it, he's like, that ain't fake. He's like, I know I wouldn't let a motherfucker chop me like that and get away with it.
After we done the first DCCW show that we streamed live. After the show, they got me down there, and Dex Royal, JKO, Joey Owens, one runs WCWO, and then Max Sterling, another guy from over here. All three chopped the hell out of me right there after the show.
Ooh.
Dude, I was blue, purple, and green and shit for about a week.
Yeah, you
can see a handprint. You can see a handprint. But I mean, it hurt. Like it hurt some when they done it. But then after the stinging went away, it looked bad. It looked a lot worse than what it really felt.
Yeah, it's that's what nobody understands, the chops. That's something that's always something I pull out if if the crowd's not.
Well, Undertaker said he hated wrestling Ric Flair because he knew he was going to take like 20 fucking chops.
How many times have you and your buddies or whatever been around and they're like, oh, chop me or like body slam me or something? Have you ever had that happen yet? Any of your like non-wrestling friends?
Yeah, actually, they. Bill, if you see this, don't be mad at me. But yeah,
sorry, Bill.
No, I'm just beating up his employees. But they at Elm Street Brewing Company. I'll go ahead and pop their name for them. Right downtown here, Muncie area. If you don't know about it, go ahead and check it out. They got great live music and great food. And owner is actually a huge wrestling fan. So, but I don't know if he'd like me chopping his employees. But yeah, there's a couple bartenders in there that. I played out there one night, and this is right after I'd won the belt out there for MPG. So, of course, I brought the belt and was showing all them guys because I knew they'd mark out over it and freak out. And one of them was like, he brought it up. It's like, oh, man, you think you'd give me a chop? And I was like, was like, do you really like want me to give you a chop? He's like, yeah, man. And then he like, there was a bunch of people standing around, and then he like leaned into me like acting like it wasn't gonna hurt. He was just like, give me like all right, man, give me a chop, like. And I'm just like, okay, are you sure? And he's like, oh yeah, man, I'm sure. You know, like, and I fucking waylaid him. I had one too many Jamesons, and but I chopped him. I didn't kill him, but no, I gave him a good one. But that's what I've always been told too. You want to protect the business, right? Like you want to make sure they know. So, but I chopped him, and
now he has a different view of it.
The second I hit him, he was like, after he got done bending down, he was like, and then he got up and he was like, oh my God, I thought you were gonna hit me like a certain way where it was gonna make a sound and then it wasn't gonna hurt. And I was like, no, that's not how this works. And then
it's amazing how many people think that you can hit somebody a certain way and it don't work.
Well, that's what, and that's like I said, like my girlfriend, like I would show her stuff, and then like when I actually started wrestling, I'd come home and be like, I'd show her my back and have all these bruises and stuff, and she'd be like, where are those from? I'd be like, what do you mean? I took a bump off the top rope. Like, what are you talking about? And she'd be like, yeah, like she just, and I kind of was like that too until I got in there. Like, there's just always something in your mind where you're like, because you know it's fake. It's almost like you're like, okay, there's something going on.
I remember when I was a little kid. I remember hearing people say, "Oh, they know how to fall and shit like that."
Which I'm gonna bring up my favorite G.W.R. line. How do you teach somebody how to fall?
What's the worst bump you've taken?
Oh God, worst bump I've taken. Honestly, probably that. I've taken a superplex. Those aren't fun, but like those, I mean, nowadays you take a superplex. Probably, I don't know. Yeah, it probably was the worst. Those chains. But the funny story about those chains was, you know, we talked about that spot or whatever, you know. Jimmy Lee had said, all right, well then I'm going to take the slack of the chain, I'm going to coil it up, and I'm going to get you in choke slam, and I'm going to take the slack and coil it up, just give you a choke slam. And the way we went over it, you know, in my head, I'm thinking, for a quick second, I was like, okay, that might hurt a little bit, you know, that's a little extra pain with that bump, but no problem. Well, it'll be fine. And then I took the bump, and I was like, that one, the bump on the chains, it probably, I think it's because it caught me off guard. Like all the other big bumps I've taken, like a superplex and stuff like that, like I've never went through like a full table before or nothing like that yet, but you almost know they're coming, so you can kind of like prepare for them. Mm-hmm. But like the chains, I thought it was going to be way better than it was, and it was way worse than I ever thought it could have been. But yeah, I took a bump from Madman one time, and it just it threw me off in the match. It threw me off because of how big he was, because it was like I'm used to wrestling guys that are like, you know, somewhat bigger than me, but there's always like a little timing to everything, you know what I mean? Like when you're falling. But with him, it was like I was falling forever because he was so freaking tall and just big. But yeah, and that's the thing too. I'm only 5'9", 5'8", and 3/4, whatever you want to say, depending on what day it is. So like, yeah, I just try to. My style in the ring is like Saber. He's crazy, so I just try to literally go through anything. Little Mick Foley, hit me with anything, and I'm gonna keep coming.
If somebody was gonna get into the wrestling business, what would be like advice that you would give to them?
Something me, Luke, and Dalton always say is you got to be one of three things to get in the wrestling business. Either got to be insane, just a little bit, maybe a little dumb, and then you just got to love it. Like if you have a mixture of those three things, if you love it, you'll do anything for it. Like, but my biggest advice is like be prepared for toll that's going to take on your body. Like, take care of your body, because that's just something like when I first started training, I was eating like crap, which I've got off of how I've been eating here lately, but I was eating like terrible, eating out every day, doing this, and then I started watching what I eat because like it was like my body needed it, and I would stretch every morning, and I started actually like taking care. In high school, I was a power lifter, and I mean, I broke the record. I went to Mineral Central out in Park Farmland, and actually broke the record out there for the weight for the squat. I squatted like 515 pounds my senior year. Can't remember what I benched.
Do you play football?
Yeah. I played football and basketball. I was actually going to go to Trine for football, and then I've had, sure you guys seen I got a big old scar on my shoulder, but I dislocated my shoulder like. It was like they used to call me Mel Gibson in high school because like Lethal Weapon, where he'd like pop it in all the time. I dislocated it like damn near 30 times, and on like the last time, it's called your labrum. And it's like the muscle inside your socket that like makes everything be able to move. I completely just tore it and ripped it completely out. There was like no cartilage in my arm. It was all. The bones were actually like the socket of my arm and my actual shoulder joint were like touching. There was no cartilage or no nothing in there. So every time I'd pop it out and pop it back in, it would just be bone on bone, just pow. And so the last time I did it, I felt it. Like I thought I broke it. I thought I'd shattered it, which I ended up cracking it, but I had to have surgery on there, and there's a couple screws and nice big pain anytime that it rains in my left arm. But
yeah, I got a lot of those injuries from sports myself.
Yeah, and that's what with the wrestling, like I was injury prone in my younger years until in high school I started lifting, and I got into powerlifting. I was like, holy crap, if you take care of your body and you watch what you eat and you stay on top of that stuff, like your body will react not react. Your body will bounce back way quicker than it will, and be able to stretch and pull and do all this different stuff that it wouldn't be able to do when you're like I was sitting on the couch eating double cheeseburgers and watching wrestling instead of actually getting in and being in there. But yeah, I would just take care of your body and eat determination for breakfast. Like, want it, because like we've talked about this whole podcast, there's a bunch of young talent out there that if you're a young talent, if you listen to this and you're like, man, I think I want to get in, but I don't know, now is the time. Like, it's the best time to be a wrestling fan. It's the best time, I think, to get in the business. It's all on the up and up. It's mainstream again. I mean, we've got wrestling on TNT now. AEW, you got, it's just.
That's one of the big things we do this is to highlight the young talent that is coming up. Like, and, people who are helping young talent, that's what this is about. That's what this is for. Give you guys a forum to be seen, be heard, to get, some of the misconceptions that the average person, sports fan, that's not necessarily a wrestling fan, has about the independent scene and why they should go see it.
Yeah.
Because the guys that they see on TV were once all independent guys.
Yep.
So
ran through the same circuits.
It's crazy how many people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Like, people think
very few of
like
them
a lot of people
are just
think
guys that got handpicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people think like Daniel Bryan, for instance. They'll think that he was just boom, Daniel Bryan or Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? They think all of a sudden
they don't know about Tyler Black.
No, they wrestled hundreds and thousands of fucking matches that you've never seen.
Yeah.
Before they got to where you were seeing them.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
With different looks and gimmicks and names
Stone Cold, look how many gimmicks he went through before somebody actually let him be his fucking self, and then boom, he took off.
That's crazy, because that's exactly how that's how I was when I got back into it, like right after my senior year, and I was trying to get in the business because like I had just broke the squat record and was benching like, I can't remember if I ever did 3 or not. It was close to 300 pounds, and bench press. I was like, ooh, if I get into wrestling, like I just got back into it, but it was like you were saying, I had only ever seen WWE stuff. So when I hopped back in, I found out who John Moxley was, and I was like, wait, that was that Dean Ambrose guy. And then I found all this CZW stuff and all of his stuff in Japan, and I was just like, wait a second, there's a whole world.
There's layers and levels and everything to it.
And quality matches in all those layers. Like you can find
at the seats at Baker's Life for SummerSlam, Edge and Taker Hell in the Cell, me and my son and my dad. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an awesome show, but I mean, some of the shows that I went to in independent have been just, that's where I've seen some of my better matches.
I always try, and that's the only thing I hate about being a wrestler is that at the shows I can't go out and watch the matches,
right.
Like because I mean, if I ever turn face, I probably could but Xavier can't be out there doing that, watching no matches. But yeah, that
can't be out there hugging little kids.
And Xavier, which is funny because Xavier, when I debuted, and I was walking around the ring and stuff, it was funny because there's this little girl. She is like, I don't want to say exactly how old she is, but she is my biggest fan. She has a shirt they made that is just like mine. That's like the muscle tee, and it says Xavier's #1 fan. And I'm like, how is the guy that like came out from under the ring when he debuted and walked around and made kids cry, like how is this little girl? Like I had to go to her birthday party as not as me, as Xavier. She did not want me there. She was like, I don't care about you. She's like, I want Xavier there. I showed up in full. This was before I had my gear now, but I had my robe and my whole get up. I showed up and at that party as Xavier, and like that's what I don't know. Like I feel like my fan base right now is like either, I guess, little girls like that, little children, I guess, but like people who would like teenagers. Like that's what's hard. Like 'cause right now I'm struggling with being at least at the IPW shows. Xavier's getting cheered for, and it's like he's almost turning into like a Kane-esque, Taker-esque, like where the older crowd's starting to cheer for me because they're like, it don't matter, like. I'll have a guy, I did it to Jimmy Lee. I had him down, and I was raking his face. I was like, is this what you want? And everybody went, yeah. And I'm just like, no, that's not what it, And I'm like, oh, well. And then, but yeah, no, that's
you're just too likable, I guess.
I don't know.
As long as it's not silent. That's
that's
all that matters. As long as you're getting a reaction.
That's exactly what, not silent.
Even if it's not the reaction you're wanting, but at least there's something, you know what I mean? At least
I can work with it.
Yeah.
That's what I did in the match. I mean, Jimmy Lee, he's
when
pretty much heel all the time.
When you're in the ring and the crowd's just sitting there and you ain't hearing nothing, that's when it's like, I got to change something.
Let's go home.
Do you have a first? This would be a 2-part question.
Okay.
Who would be your all-time dream match? Like somebody that's like maybe a legend or somebody that's still, that's still performing, and who's an independent person that you haven't worked with yet that you'd really like to work with?
Wow. Dream match, a guy that's working right now. I mean, really, it would probably be Moxley. I would love to get in there and let John Moxley kick my ass.
First death match.
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, I would do it. Sign me up, Moxley, if you're listening. And then independent guy, that's a great question because, like you said, like that's kind of why I reached out to you guys first when I heard all these young guys on, and then like kind of like with Mike King talking about all the young talent and all the young guys training and this and that, like that's kind of why I was so excited and wanted to come on because I have just sit and pondered like, man, what if I could just go toe to toe with Dex Royal and just like what kind of match could we put together? That's that's always what's going through my head. What if I could?
Dex.
Yeah, Dex. And the
Con. Hey.
Yeah.
JKO. Y'all listening?
Tankman.
Hey.
I would love. Actually, that's probably actually who. That would probably be my number one answer.
Calvin Tankman.
Probably be Calvin Tankman.
His match against Suzuki was crazy.
Yeah, I've seen
they
him
went
work
off on each other.
I love. Yeah, he's actually came to IPW a couple times, and I've met him a few times, and he. Yeah, I really like Calvin Tankman. He's. I like how he works in the ring a lot, but yeah, that would probably be.
Yeah, you guys heard him. Get a hold of him. It'll be a good match. I guarantee that.
Have you met any talent in the business that might have surprised you, like somebody you always thought was like a cool guy or something, and they end up being a dick or
you don't have to name any names.
No, or somebody that just like you thought might have been an asshole, but was actually pretty cool.
Well, I mean, you already mentioned kind of with the Dalton thing.
Yeah, no, that's Dalton Love. If you want that little motherfucker Dalton Love. He really, that's honestly, that would probably be the only one, because I saw Dalton in his first match with Luke, where they pulled Luke out of the crowd, and I literally thought, I was like,
that was a great match.
Yeah, man. I was like, because I knew how stuff works, so I was like, okay, this guy's probably not that big of a prick, but he's just turning that up to 11, and then Dalton is literally the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's like Dalton turned up to like 50.
Yeah, I always tell Dalton in practice. I always say, man, I always look at him if it's ever quiet. I'll be like, Dalton, I love Dalton Love as the government name, Dalton Love, but that fucking wrestler Dalton Love, I fucking want to smack that dude around.
It was funny because the first time he came on, other guy that usually is here with this, my cousin Steve, he didn't realize that was his real name.
Yeah.
So he asked him, he goes, "What? How'd you come up with the name Dalton Love?" And as he's saying it, I'm already laughing in my head.
Stevie, I think, is picturing like Dude Love, and then with his with Dalton Love's like.
And Dalton looks at him and goes, "Well, it's my government name."
That's I've heard Dalton say that many times, because we'll get guys in the training center that come in and don't really know, and they'll be like, Dalton Love, that's a good name. Let's come up with that. Dalton, all the time. It's just my government name.
You know what match I would love to see?
What's that?
I would love to see Xavier versus Jackson Morgan, because y'all are both like crazy dudes that are brawlers.
Okay.
That would be a hell of a match. Have you seen Jackson Morgan?
Yeah, I would. Hey, Jackson Morgan, if you're
that'd
listening.
That'd be a good match.
Yeah, I'm down. Listen. That's all I want. I want to put on quality matches with
body bag match.
I tried to. IPW had a casket match the last show, and I tried so hard. I was like, man, let me come out in that. Let me just like pop out in it or something. But it was made for women, so Xavier was not fitting in that casket. I seen it. I was like, oh, never mind. Yeah, the first show I debuted at, I came out from under the ring. So we opened the show, and I sat under the ring for like an hour, and it was like, that's what everybody was asking me. They're like, oh, when you debuted, like, how was it? Like, when did you realize you were like really a wrestler? Like, and I was like, well, I didn't really do it the right way. Like, I didn't get to come out beyond the curtain. I was literally sitting under the ring, hearing everybody do all the promos and stuff before. I'm on my phone. Like just looking up shit, and then I roll out, and it was just kind of like, but that's how everything in my life has always been. It's always been trial by fire. Like, let's just, like, I always just jump in and let's go. Like,
that's how we started this. We just jumped in one day and
110. Boom. Yeah, yep. Just keep
head first straight into it.
That's that's it. Yeah.
We've been fortunate. Got hooked up with DCCW, where we've been doing the live streaming their shows.
Yeah,
that's been good.
See, right there,
and
just
then
like that, helping hand in hand.
All those guys, that's been coming on. Like,
we're actually going to WCWO this Sunday to stream a live show there.
Yeah, we're live streaming WCWO.
We're having a fundraiser for veterans.
Heroes helping heroes.
Sweet.
So we're going to that this Sunday and going to go there and live stream it.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'll check that out Sunday. For sure, yeah. Yeah, that WCWO.
You heard him. Get Savior's coming for y'all.
We have
Jackson, Dex, all you guys.
Yeah, man.
He's coming to save you. He's coming to save you.
And anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed it.
We even did a thing with Dalton. If you're interested sometime, he came over and watched the pay-per-view with us.
Oh, sweet.
And we just
did
kind of
live
talked.
reactions.
Yeah. I seen a little bit of that.
So,
I seen his.
We could always do something like that.
Heck yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd love to come on again. I seen Dalton's answer of who's the greatest heel of all time. The old Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
He told me that one time. So I seen your guys' video where it was like Dalton Love has an interesting, and I knew it. I was like, oh yes, I liked it and watched it, and I was like, dude, I think that's the greatest answer I've ever heard.
Yeah.
With that.
Is that who you would say is?
Yeah.
Or do you have a different answer?
It's hard to argue with that. I can't remember who I said before Dalton had brought that up and he changed my mind, but it's hard, like kind of like you guys said, the heel doesn't, I mean, the heel is almost nothing without the face. Like, I feel like Vince McMahon was so big because Stone Cold was so huge.
So over.
Yeah, it was just like, and it was
because
perfect.
everybody wanted to tell their boss to go fuck off.
That,
you know what I mean?
That was a perfect storyline.
They call even if you're wasn't a big wrestling fan, it's still connected with you because you're like, yeah, I like to go to work and punch my boss in the fucking nose.
And everybody knew he was going to Stone Cold Stunner his boss,
and then he was going to drink some beer.
And everybody else in the ring.
Like, who don't love that? Drink a few beers.
Yeah,
Stone Cold Stunner your boss.
Yeah, me and Dalton and Luke have had many conversations like that. Like we always do, like who our goats are, like who your personal goats are.
Your Mount Rushmore.
But then who's your non-biased Mount Rushmore? Like if you were to make one without any of your bias in it, like who do you think is the top 4 to ever lace them up? Like, and that's, I don't know if we've ever came to a clear answer on it.
That's a hard one.
It always comes down to like Flair.
I was gonna say Flair to me would have to be a.
Yeah, I always say Flair first, just because like if you're gonna do the GOAT status, like you got to be able to walk the walk and talk the talk. You'll be able to wrestle. You got to be able to promo, the look, the charisma, the titles, the everything. Like, and Flair, I think is just automatic. I've heard a lot of people say a lot of people I've had this conversation with, not just Luke and Dalton, a lot of other wrestling guys. They say Taker.
I was gonna say Taker would have to be on there.
Yeah.
And like, is that like with no biases? You put Crippler in there, put Benoit on that, because like when it comes to straight technical wrestling and all that, I mean, there was hardly nobody better.
But I think there's better than. Better than him
on the mic and things like that, like cut promos.
I think Shawn Michaels would have to be in there.
Yeah, I'd say Flair and Shawn are probably like the 2 for sure. But then you only got 2 other spots, and then you can think of a million other guys. That's like, damn, you ain't even.
Eddie,
yeah. That they say
you can make a case now for Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
I'll tell you somebody else. Jericho.
Yep, Jericho.
That's what I was.
And the main reason I say Jericho is as many a times as he's reinvented himself. He's came up with new ways and new gimmicks to keep keep fans interested. Yeah,
Jericho has one of my favorite matches that nobody. I guarantee. I've never looked this up, but quote me right now. Get online and look it up right now. I guarantee it's a 5-star match. Jericho and The Rock, 2001. Vengeance for the WCW title, the first match, not the second.
When he beat him for the title.
When he beats The Rock, go back and watch. I've never seen it. I almost want to look it up right now because I guarantee it's a 5-star match.
Like AEW wouldn't be where it's at right now without Chris Jericho.
No, and that's I can't.
He carried them for that at least the first year of it.
Yeah, Jericho to me is. I've always argued that Jericho by the end of his run, he may be worthy of it may be worthy to talk about him as GOAT status. Like, I mean, think about everywhere he's wrestled.
I always say Flair because Flair done it so many different places.
what Jericho's kind of
Yeah.
the same way. ECW, WCW.
Well, I'm talking that
Japan,
when Flair, like back in the day, when just the territories.
Yeah,
he was
that's
able.
what-
He was one of the first guys that was able to go national. And,
Yeah, a guy.
you know what I mean?
Me and
he was one of the first guys that kind of were, even if you weren't a wrestling fan, you knew who Ric Flair was.
Yeah, me and a guy. His name's Guy. Shout out Guy. I told him I'd shout him out on this because he's gonna watch it.
Guy the guy?
Yeah, he we work together. He's my supervisor, but he's a huge wrestling fan. He comes to the shows and stuff, and we always talk about wrestling. We drive from job to job, and that's what we talk about. So shout out Guy. But he yeah, man, that's what we talk about, that stuff, and that was a case we made for Jericho, was that like he's done ECW, WCW, WWE, New Japan, now AEW. He's championed in all of them. Like it's almost it's worthy of being talked about. That's for sure. That is for sure.
I'm wanting to go on that cruise he does, Rock and Raging cruise he does.
Oh yeah.
Who would you say is the most underrated? Somebody that's kind of really almost done it all, but just don't get quite the mention with like the ones we mentioned. And then we with the all time greats still, we didn't even mention Bruno Sammartino or Andre the Giant.
And that's what you got all those too. That man, I don't underrated. That's
Jerry the King Lawler.
That's
The Miz.
Because
I hate to say it,
it's
but
hard,
the Miz is up there.
But see,
I hated to say
it's hard. It's hard to believe, that Jerry Lawler was never
a champion,
never WWE champion, never WWF champion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And
probably Jericho's who I would say, if like we weren't just talking about Jericho. That's
Chris
probably
Benoit. Chris Benoit's underrated, but a lot of that has to do with the shit outside the ring. But like your pure wrestling fans, a lot of them still like us. Hey, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say Benoit's one of the best, but your guys aren't hardcore wrestling fans. They just want to talk about the personal stuff.
Yeah. Another guy I think is criminally underrated, which a lot of guys say this guy's overrated, is Bret Hart. Like, I think he should be talked about in GOAT status every single time you talk about a GOAT. Like, and that's just my personal bias. I don't know. I think that's me being a wrestling fan because I watch what he does in the ring, and I'm just how can you not? Like,
I agree with you too, because once he left WWF, it was never the same. He was never.
And I think that's kind of what dragged him down. Dragged that whole kind of made it underrated. I don't know if he was ever underrated, but
underrated guy be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I do love watching Cody Rhodes in the ring.
I don't think especially in WWF, he never got the push that he deserved.
Never.
AEW, a lot of I love Darby Allin. I love Hangman, Adam Page.
I like Sammy Guevara.
Sammy Guevara is like, see, and that's the thing too. All these guys, like, we're talking about young talent around here.
They're young.
But we're talking about young talent around here. We're all 20. We're all 19 to 25 ish. I don't know how old Dex and them are, but it's like I know they're not that much older. And these guys are right around that age. It's like how it's insane.
I agree with Dalton.
Right, got to give you hope and a little like,
and
hey,
I agree with what Dalton was saying though too. AEW's taking on all these wrestlers that some people get lost in the mix because there's not enough. There's not enough showtime.
That is true.
For them to get everybody in.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's just I don't know, but I think it does help the independent though. With like you're saying, if you got too much watered down, if you water it down too much, then what are you gonna have?
Before we get out of here, did you have anything you want to plug, promote?
Oh yeah,
where you gonna be? Your next shows, all that.
Yeah, November 27th, I'll be in Bloomington. It's actually a Pride Festival out there in Bloomington. I think IU is help putting that on. And then I want to say the 13th of November is the next IPW show. Xavier will be defending his Four Corner title out there on the 13th of November, Saturday.
You know who you're defending in it?
No, I do not. Yeah, it's an open challenge right now. So,
everybody can get it.
Tankman? Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Anybody and everybody can get it?
Yeah. Yeah, my new manager. I've been hooked up with a new manager, Pastor Payne, the legendary Pastor Payne from old school IPW. Nice. So we're going to start wreaking havoc and washing the sins of all these wrestlers away on this local independent scene, especially locally here at IPW. So, yeah, we have an open challenge for that four-corner title right now. So make sure you come out to the next IPW show. Follow IPW on Facebook. Follow DCCW on Facebook. Follow any local wrestling you have.
Where can we find you on social media at?
You can find me on Facebook at Jansen Blevins, JNSEN BLEVINS, and then all my links should be on my Facebook page if you have Facebook. If not, I'm sure we can get some links up. Or I can put them on Facebook, or we can do whatever. But that's mainly where I do all my stuff is on Facebook, so I don't really do the Instagram or the Twitter. That's just my...
And do you have anything with your music coming up?
Music-wise, no, right now we're actually going into recording season. So we actually just did our last gig out here at Elm Street Brewing Company this last weekend, but because it's getting cold out. But I will plug Elm Street. They will have live music all throughout the winter. I don't know. I'll be playing there here in a couple months, but yeah, I'm going to start doing some recording. We're going to try to get an album out. That way I can free my traveling time up to get out here and do some wrestling to save these dudes.
Oh yeah, looking forward to see you save and put some old ass whoopings on some people. Dalton, he's coming to kick your ass again, Dalton.
I'd love to have I've never wrestled Dalton just one-on-one, so that would be cool.
Oh, that would be a great match.
Yeah, that would be.
There you go.
Yeah, we'd tear the
open
house
challenge.
Down. I'd kick his ass, but
hey, come get him on that open challenge, Dalton.
All right, thank you guys for having me on again.
Hey, no, we appreciate you coming on, man, and yeah, everything you said about the whole wrestling scene and the fans, and you can tell you got heart and you got passion, you got a love for it. That, you know, and like you said, if you got all them things, man, there's a perfect recipe for success. And you know, with hard work, you can tell you love it, man. The way you speak passionately about wrestling, and yeah, we wish you best of luck from GSR, GWR, and
heck yeah, man.
We look to see you do big things and crush your goals, man.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I'll be pushing GSR for sure.
We appreciate that. Like I said, you're welcome back anytime.
Heck yeah, man. Yep. Appreciate you guys.
All right, welcome back to GWR. Hope everybody enjoyed that interview. I want to give a big shout out to Savior or Jansen Blevins. He's welcome back anytime. It was a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Before we get out of here, don't forget, we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. That show's live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you're a sports bettor, come join us. We're giving out winners. Also, we're live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern with GSR Gonzo Sports Room, our sports talk show. We talk hot topics in sports, and usually there's two or three other guys here, and we have a pretty good conversation. Also, be on the lookout. We're getting ready to start our new podcast, G.W.R. We've been doing some G.W.R. for the interviews and stuff, but we're actually going to start our podcast. It'll come out at least once a week, maybe twice a week. We'll be announcing that real soon, so be on the lookout for that. You can find GSR and Easy Money, a sports betting show in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Most places you can listen to podcasts, you can find us. This interview with Savior will be dropping on the podcast network later this afternoon. Also, follow us on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Gonzo Sports Room. That's where we post all of our information for all of our shows. Our daily picks for Easy Money, a sports betting show, get posted on there. You can also follow me on Facebook at Chris D. Gonzalez, on Twitter at Chris Gonzalez, at Gonzalez Sports. And I post all that information on my personal page as well. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzalez Sports/merch. We have t-shirts, hats, beanies, some hoodies, some long sleeve tees. You can see some of the t-shirts here behind me. actually the GWR shirt here. If you'd like one of those, you can get a hold of myself or Eric. We have some of them in stock that we can get them out to you. The rest of the stuff right now is just on our at that link on our website. Also, we have a donation page at that same link if you'd like to donate to help the show grow. We'd appreciate that as well. Don't forget, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, we have a special guest, Luke Savage, is making his return to the show. He'll be live in studio with us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, Ricky Ruckus, owner of Emerge Wrestling Promotion, is going to join us to talk about Emerge 58, Reap What You Sow. If you don't have plans Saturday night, get on their website, check out their show. They have a stat card for this weekend. Friend of the show, Hollywood House, is going to be managing the Pope, Elijah Burke, at that show. So go out, support independent wrestling, support our friend Hollywood House. Go support Emerge. But Ricky Ruckus will be on here at 1 p.m. Friday to talk more about that show. Appreciate everybody joining us. We will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern for Easy Money, a sports betting show. Then at 1 p.m. we'll be live, and Luke Savage will be joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Be safe. Peace.